see their name on a lot of the buildings there because they own a lot of them.
Right.
They call it Temple Square with all the main buildings that they own in Salt Lake. It's actually really pretty, and you can go inside some of the buildings as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the original settlers who came here, visited, and actually stayed were the Mormon pioneers.
Yeah.
And they came in 1847, but Utah didn't actually become a part of the United States until 1886.
Okay.
So it took almost 50 years for them to become a state. But yeah, what's interesting too is like California, Oregon, all those other states on the west border, they became states before Utah did, even though Utah was actually technically settled before.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they traveled from Missouri because when they were basically, the Mormon church started in New York, and then they went to Ohio, and then they went to Illinois, and then they went to Missouri.
Yeah.
They were kind of getting pushed around a little bit because they had some like legal troubles. At the time, they used to practice polygamy, so they'd have multiple wives.
Oh, okay.
And so that's like one of the main reasons they kind of got pushed around. It's like, we don't want you here, leave. But then finally in Missouri, they actually like made a law that it was legal to kill a Mormon.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we've got to get out of here and go somewhere that's not gonna give us all this, right?
Yeah.
So they started walking westward and just kept on going until they got here, where the leader at the time, his name was Brigham Young, he was like, this is the place that we should stay.
Yeah.
He saw like the lake shimmering and he saw the mountains with like the snow on it. He was like, yeah, this is the spot.
Yeah.
So they settled here, and then they stopped practicing polygamy, so they stopped having multiple wives.
Yeah.
And then eventually they became a state. So
Interesting.
yeah, there's like the main history of Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And then the history of the rest of Utah is actually pretty similar. A lot of the towns were started by Mormon pioneers. They kind of branched out after they got here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they initially were in Salt Lake, and then they sent people south and north, east. Not very many west. That's why there's a lot more small towns over here.
What's that temple's name?
So the one in Salt Lake City is just called the Salt Lake City Temple.
Salt Lake City Temple. Okay.
And then the Mormon Church, they have a lot of other temples as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a temple in Oakland.
Oh yeah, that's true. Huh?
Yeah. And
That one's pretty.
I wasn't even aware that it was like Mormon, right?
Yeah.
So one time I just saw it on the map, on Google Maps. I was like, okay, this building looks pretty. Let
Yeah,
me
go
take a
check
look.
it out. Take pictures.
Yeah.
How did you find out that it was Mormon?
Last week, actually.
Oh really?
I was I visited the temple maybe like 2-3 years ago,
Nice.
and then I told my manager I was gonna visit Salt Lake City, and he was like, "Oh yeah, there's a temple in Oakland." I was like, "Wait,
You're like,
it's a
wait,
Mormon
I've
temple?"
been there.
Yes.
That's funny.
And I think like in January I also watched the musical The Book of Mormon.
Oh nice.
I just find it so interesting.
It's funny.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, let me go there and check it out.
Yeah, not very accurate. It's a little
Not accurate, yeah.
Yeah, a little, what's the word, dramatized for entertainment.
Absolutely.
It's funny though.
Yeah.
It is so funny. Then you can be Utah, you're like, wait, where are all of they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Which is the Hebrew word for honeybee.
Oh.
So it's like the old Hebrew Bible language, like word for honeybee.
Okay.
So you might be like, oh, was there a lot of bees here or what? So it's actually because when the Mormon pioneers first got here, there was kind of like nothing for them. You know, they had to start from scratch.
Yeah.
No one else settled here before. The only people who had kind of stayed for any amount of time were the mountain men who lived here for a couple months at a time.
Yeah.
And so they were really the first ones they decided, okay, well then, if we're not able to use that name, how about we name it after the Ute tribe?
Ah.
Because when the Mormon pioneers got here, they actually didn't even know that there were Native Americans here for months.
Yeah.
They didn't really run into them. They just didn't interact at all.
Yeah.
Then the Native Americans came like 8-9 months later, and were like, oh hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
But the Ute tribe was a very peaceful tribe. And so they were like, what, can you like leave? And the Mormon pioneers had already started building a lot of their buildings by now. Like they were working fast to grow the city.
Yeah.
So they were like, we've already started, we don't want to keep walking and going and losing everything because they lost so much on their way here.
Yeah.
So then they were like, how about, would you guys be okay if we stayed if we give you half of our crops? Which is a lot. And the Ute tribe was like, you know what? Sure, that works. So they actually used that agreement for a while, and they got along quite well. But then, of course, more people started coming to Utah, and eventually when it became a state, the U.S. government made a Native American reservation
Okay.
and kind of pushed them all into that area. Very sad, because
Yeah.
it's their land.
That's right.
Sadly, that's like a lot of the history of the U.S. though.
Yeah.
So, but we've actually repaired a lot of that relationship with the tribe. Like right now, at big city events or sometimes university events,
Yeah.
some Native Americans will come and do a tribal dance for us.
Oh.
And we have lots of activities where we involve them. Some of the artwork done in downtown Salt Lake City
Yeah.
was done by people of the Ute tribe.
Oh.
And they were paid to do some artwork downtown. So kind of cool.
Okay.
But yeah, so gratefully that relationship's been improved, which is good.
Yeah.
And then also speaking of people coming to Utah, of course there was the Mormon pioneers originally. It started to get a little bit more diverse because the Mormons were sending out missionaries
Yeah.
back then, even after they got to Utah, just right initially. And that would bring people here from Hawaii and England, and it was kind of crazy how it brought people here from
Yeah.
all these different countries. And then when the gold rush happened, everyone was trying to get to California
Yes.
to mine gold and like become rich, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of them didn't find the gold they were hoping for, so they would pass through Utah, spend a bunch of money because they're like, well, I'm gonna make plenty of money.
Oh.
So they'd spend a bunch of money on food and like honey, stuff that they didn't actually need, but that was nice.
Okay.
So that helped the economy a lot here. Then they would go, they wouldn't find the gold that they wanted, and then instead of going all the way back to the East Coast,